I'm coming up the path from the garden. I like this little grouping. We've got the last remaining flowers on rhododendron edgeworthii, which we saw before, and we've got a lovely sumptuous tree peony from China. And in the background we have a very straggly but beautifully scented rhododendron. Goes by the name of nasturtium. It's got the same parents as the more famous rhododendron fragrantissimum, and if you rub the leaves of this one, they are scented. The bees are buzzing about the tree peony. As I stand here, I'm afraid I'm getting the most wonderful scents from these plants. The tree peony has got a lovely, very, very sweet scent. And as we know, the rhododendron edgeworthii has got a lovely spicy scent. And as just said, the rhododendron nasturtium has also got a spicy scent and this lovely scent when you rub the leaves. Now, going to Taiwan for a minute, we have this rhododendron here, which is called rhododendron ellipticum, and I think it's got the most wonderful new growth. It is a bit of a straggly beast as well, but I think the new growth could be more or less its selling point. Nature, I know, can never go wrong, but I'm afraid it has here, in my opinion, because as you can see in the background, we've got the beginnings of the flowers for rhododendron ellipticum, which are a sort of sugar pink. And frankly, they do not go with the beautiful bronze foliage. One is almost tempted to take the flowers off in order to enjoy the foliage without that amazing clash of colour. Still, there we are. That's nature for you. Not always right, in my opinion. Having visited China and Taiwan, we're now on our way to visit Japan at the back via this little rhododendron. It's going over now, but above it are the bells of a Japanese shrub, Enkianthus campanulatus. Campanulatus being bell-like. And it certainly is absolutely covered with its bells. And has formed quite a wide-spreading shrub here after 12 years. Easy to miss, but and it always catches me by surprise, is this charming little nasturtium which just pops up and around with its multicoloured red flowers with the black circle around its yellow throat. A sweet little thing. This is Tropiolum tricolour, red, black and yellow. Just minds its own business against the wall. Now we're not far from the little nasturtium, tropium tricolor, is a Camassia, little group of Camassia with variegated leaves. Camassias are from North America, North American bulbs. This one has an intriguing name, Sacorgea. And on investigation, I discovered Sacorgea was a Native American captured by some troops from her tribe in Idaho in 1800 thereabouts, and taken with them, and they started getting very short of food and were on the point of starvation, and she remarkably showed them what vegetation they could eat, and including the bulbs of the Camassias, which were all over the plain. Very big of her. So that's the name that is commemorated. And we're going to take a trip to the Azores and to see another of these large shrubby euphorbias with the honey scent, slightly later flowering than the Euphorbia mellifera from Madeira that we saw in an earlier video, but with a much darker green and more dramatic foliage. It's got slightly yellower flowers which are covering the bush. Now this euphorbia from the Azores, called Euphorbia stitchiana, is a bit promiscuous. If you're a nervous disposition, close your ears. It's a bit promiscuous, and it certainly will mate with the honey euphorbia from Madeira, Euphorbia mellifera, at the slightest. This is in fact what happened in Oxford Botanic Garden several years ago, when the two shrubby euphorbias were growing near each other, and an intermediate seedling was discovered near them by somebody working in the Oxford Botanic Garden by the name of George Pasteur, and as a result this hybrid is called Euphorbia pasteuri. Now, it is quite difficult to differentiate between the real Euphorbia stitchiana from the Azores and this hybrid, and I rather think that this is actually the hybrid. It shows a great deal of vigor and can become a really large bush in time. Still has a very bold dark green foliage of the Azorean euphorbia, and in fact has formed a very rounded shrub because I chopped it right down to the ground more or less 2 years ago, and it regrew very vigorously. So I think we're looking here at Euphorbia pasteuri. Now here is what I believe to be the Euphorbia stitchiana from the Azores, so the real thing, and it's rather straggly. It's popping up here and there. And I think that's it. Walking back to the house, I'm just pausing by this olearia in New Zealand called Olearia Cheesemani. Mr. Cheeseman was a very famous New Zealand botanist. quite a few things named after him. He's got his small masses of honey-scented daisies, and en masse forms one ginormous bush. I first saw this at Logan Botanic Garden in Scotland, and I was very taken with it and decided to plant actually 3 here. Coming up the path, I had noticed a little treasure that's appeared. This is a trillium from the Appalachian Mountains, North Carolina, etc., which is called Trillium simile, or the sweet white trillium. I think it's very sweet. What I like is right in the middle, it looks as if a bee's got stuck in there. Just coming along the old tennis court, past the lovely new growth on the Mexican oak tree, Quercus rhizophylla, a version called Maya. It's very nice red new growth. So I look to my right and I see the rather rare laurel on the left, called Phoebe Sheareri, and the magnificent Acer japonicum. Blood good, deep red behind, and in front of that I think you can make out the flowers of Magnolia Genie. Interesting, really, after only a couple of weeks, things look different again. Rounding the corner is a sight I always look forward to every May, the flowering of the wild Dalmatian iris, Iris pallida, collected in Croatia by a friend of mine many years ago now, given to me as a small clump, and I think it goes extremely well with the wisterias. This is Wisteria prolific, which I think is a lovely wisteria. Doesn't grow too big, beautiful scent and substantial flowers. The iris is certainly very happy here, and as you can see, over about 12 years it has become an enormous long clump. Coming down the path in the walled garden towards the gate, I notice that the lovely rhododendron dalhousie is out, or coming out with its scented creamy yellow trumpets. A lovely rhododendron discovered in 1849 by Sir Joseph Hooker in Sikkim.